Governor Kathy Hochul said recently that after debating bail reform for years and making big changes to how bail is handled in state courts and then changes to those changes, she may be done with that. But there are other criminal justice-related issues that may get a hearing and even become law in the final days of the legislative session. We sort through them on today's Story of the Day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Essex County Arts Council, promoting arts and culture through advocacy and grants to artists and organizations. More at essexcountyarts.org.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Friday, June 2nd. First up, New York's fertility rate has been on a mostly steady decline over the last 2 decades, and it shows no signs of rebounding. According to data from the state's Department of Public Health, almost 211,000 babies were born in New York in 2021, a 13% decline from a decade before. Demographer Leslie Reynolds of Cornell University says more women are making decisions based on balancing work and family.
Choosing to have kids, it's often based on the resources that you have. So if you can't see your family, it'll be a lot harder to have children and know that you'll have to work from home and also take care of your children. So there's a balance of childcare and social support and also economic concerns.
Reynolds says more women are also waiting longer to have children, something not surprising considering the social norms of 2 parents working.
You may push it to a point in your career where you feel comfortable taking leave or you have benefits. You may not want that right out of college job when you're having your baby. You want something more stable.
New York's fertility rate declined at more than twice the rate of the national average, and the report highlighted persistent racial and ethnic disparities. For example, Black infants were more likely to die compared to other racial or ethnic groups in New York. In a statement, the health commissioner said he's concerned about those disparities despite the overall progress statewide. The department says factors like healthcare coverage, housing, and transportation contribute to the racial disparities and says it's pursuing efforts to reduce them. Most of the Adirondack Rail Trail is closed for construction this summer. Crews have been working on the section between Lake Placid and Saranac Lake this spring, and work is about to begin on the next section to Santa Clara. The state awarded a nearly $9 million contract to a Troy-based construction company to complete the section from Saranac Lake to Santa Clara. The 34-mile trail is expected to be finished by this fall. Meanwhile, the renovated scenic rail line from Tupper Lake south to Utica starts running in mid-July. The city of Plattsburgh and the local YMCA plan to launch a new sports programming partnership for city youth this fall. Kara Chapman has more.
The city estimates that nearly 300 of its young residents under 12 play soccer, baseball, and basketball through the Plattsburgh YMCA. Beginning this fall, the city will cover their registration fees.
This is something that we've been trying to work on regionally for probably a good year now.
Plattsburgh Mayor Chris Rosenquist says the program expands the city's existing partnership with the Y. The organization has a second location at the city's former rec center on the U.S. Oval and uses sports fields throughout the city for some of its programming. In a statement, Plattsburgh YMCA CEO Justin Ein said his organization is excited about the new program. He said, quote, "In the end, it's about getting more kids active and fostering activities that promote working together, leadership, and increase confidence and self-esteem." Rosenquist sees the new program fitting into the city's overall approach to recreation. He says it requires a global perspective, incorporating not just sports, but also things like biking infrastructure, trails, and park improvements.
And it does also need to include year-round as well. It's not just during the nice summer months and the nice spring months that we have now, but it is also based on what we do in the wintertime because we do have an active population that does look for recreational opportunities in the winter.
Rosenquist estimates the registration fees will cost the city about $35,000 a year. It's expected they'll be covered by $160,000 in annual savings from taking the Crate Civic Center out of service. It's currently being demolished. The mayor says the remaining funds haven't been earmarked for anything specific. Kara Chapman, North Country Public Radio.
Governor Kathy Hochul and legislative leaders say they are very close to agreement on a measure known as Clean Slate. It would expunge criminal records for people convicted of some crimes to help them get jobs and housing once they've served their sentence. But as Karen DeWitt reports, that appears to be the only issue that the legislature and governor can agree on, with just over a week left in the 2023 legislative session.
Clean slate!
Advocates for the bill, including labor and business leaders who spoke at the rally, may not have to wait much longer for the measure to become law. Assembly Speaker Carl Hastie says there have been positive three-way discussions between his House, the state Senate, and Governor Hochul.
We're trying to come up with something that the governor, the Assembly, and Senate can all be happy with. I think we're very close, very optimistic.
The bill has been amended in recent days to reflect concerns that the finance industry had about potential liability if they hired people who committed financial crimes in the past. State leaders are also trying to agree to a time frame on how long people should have to wait after serving their sentences before their records are sealed. Governor Hochul says there's conceptual agreement as they hash out a final version. She says it would clear the way for many who've been convicted of crimes and who have served their sentences to obtain jobs.
It addresses a serious shortage of workers that we have here in the state of New York, which is why there's such strong support from the business community for this. And I think we'll get this done before the end of session.
But other criminal justice issues are stalled, including elder parole. It would give older inmates who are serving long sentences an opportunity to go before the parole board and ask for early release. Senate Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins says those issues are not likely to become law this year.
Clean slate is the one where we are focused on right now.
As the session winds down, lawmakers also appear no closer to agreement on other items, including action to ease the state's affordable housing crisis. The governor's plan to build 800,000 new housing units over the next 10 years fell out of budget talks when suburban lawmakers objected to a provision that would override local zoning laws. And a tenants' rights measure backed by progressive lawmakers, known as the Good Cause Eviction Law, failed to win enough votes. While the leaders say talks are ongoing, Speaker Hastie says more effort is needed to get all of the stakeholders together before a housing package can be crafted.
When you want to do transformational change, I really think there really needs to be time for collective buy-in, and I'm just not sure that was able to happen with the housing program.
The leaders who answered questions from reporters said a bill sought by the Seneca Nation of Indians to renegotiate gaming contracts is under discussion, but didn't report any progress. They also say a bill that would require clergy to report sexual abuse allegations that are brought to their attention is not advancing so far. But they were reluctant to rule anything in or anything out. Senate Leader Stewart-Cousins was asked about a bill to allow wine to be sold in grocery stores. She answered diplomatically.
It's part of the bills that we may or may not discuss, so I have nothing definitive on that.
The leaders say there are several days left until the session ends, and in that time, anything could happen. In Albany, I'm Karen DeWitt.
We have more news all the time and through the weekend on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Lost in Beijing of Keene and Alum Dunham of South Glens Falls. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.